The twin suns of Kepler 442b cast harsh shadows across the crystalline desert as Helen wiped sweat from his brow. The archaeological survey was supposed to be routine: map the ruins, catalog artifacts, file reports. Nothing in the mission briefing had prepared him for what jutted from the dunes like a metallic mountain. The ship was massive, its hull blackened by centuries of sandstorms but still recognizably human in design. Not the sleek curves of modern vessels, but the angular, practical lines of old Earth military craft. Helen's scanner chirped frantically as he approached, detecting power signatures that should have been impossible after so long buried. "Elsa, you're seeing this, right?" He spoke into his comm unit. Static crackled back from orbit. "Copy that, Helen. I'm reading massive energy. Buildups down there. You need to..." The transmission cut as ancient floodlights blazed to life, illuminating the ship's scarred hull. Somewhere deep within the vessel, systems that had slumbered for 5 centuries began to wake. Helen stumbled backward as a section of the hull groaned open, revealing an airlock that hissed with equalizing pressure. Emergency lighting flickered on, casting an eerie blue glow across corridors that had known only darkness for longer than most civilizations had existed. He should have waited for the rest of the survey team, should have called for backup. But something about the ship called to him, a familiar ache he couldn't explain. Against every protocol he'd ever learned, Helen stepped inside. The corridors were pristine, as if the ship's automated systems had been maintaining them all these years. His boots echoed on deck plates, marked with symbols he recognized from history books. The old Earth Federation, dissolved 4 centuries ago when humanity spread too far across the galaxy to govern as one. "Environmental systems online," a voice announced, startling him. It was artificial but warm, with the slight accent of old Earth English. "Artificial gravity restored. Welcome aboard the EFS Prometheus, Admiral." "I'm not an admiral," Helen said to the empty corridor. "I'm just an archaeologist." Biometric scan confirms. Admiral Elena Vasquez, Earth Federation Space Command. Though you appear to have undergone significant cosmetic alteration, your genetic markers are unmistakable. Helen's blood ran cold. Elena Vasquez, the ghost admiral they'd called her in the history texts. The woman who'd led humanity's last desperate stand against the hegemony before vanishing into deep space. That had been over 500 years ago. "There's been a mistake. I'm Helen Vasquez, born on New Geneva in 2387. I study dead civilizations. I don't..." "Accessing historical records," the AI interrupted. "Cross-referencing genealogical data. Fascinating. It appears you are descended from the Admiral's sister, Maria Vasquez, who remained on Earth during the war. The genetic similarity is remarkable. Less than 0.03% deviation." The ship shuddered around them as more systems came online. Through the viewports, Helen could see sand cascading off the hull as the Prometheus began to rise from its desert tomb. "Stop," he shouted. "You can't just take off. My partner is up there." Detecting incoming transmission from research vessel. "Minerva, shall I establish contact?" "Yes." The main display flickered to life, showing Elsa's concerned face from the bridge of their survey ship. Her dark eyes went wide as she took in the ancient bridge around Helen. "Helen, what is that thing? It's massive. Our sensors are going crazy." "It's a ship from the old Federation," he called back. "The AI thinks I'm some long-dead admiral. I'm trying to convince it..." "Greetings, research vessel Minerva," the ship's AI cut in smoothly. "This is Captain's AI Artemis of the Federation starship Prometheus. We have been waiting a very long time to resume our mission." Elsa's jaw dropped. "That's impossible. The Federation fell centuries ago. Their ships were all destroyed or scrapped." "Not all," Artemis replied. "Admiral Vasquez programmed me with a final protocol before her death. Should any of her bloodline ever find this vessel, I was to transfer command and complete our last mission." "What mission?" Helen asked, though part of him already knew. The main display shifted, showing star charts and tactical data that made his archaeological training seem quaint. "The elimination of hegemony forward bases in the Outer Rim. We carry enough firepower to glass a dozen worlds, Admiral. The war can finally be won. Elsa's face went pale. Helen, the hegemony hasn't existed for 300 years. They collapsed from internal strife long after the Federation fell. But Artemis continued as if she hadn't spoken. I have maintained all systems in perfect condition. The crew quarters are prepared. The weapons are charged. We need only your command to begin the final campaign. Helen looked around the bridge, at weapons controls that could level cities, at star charts marking enemies that no longer existed, at the tomb of a war that had ended centuries ago. The AI had been alone down here, waiting faithfully for a dead woman's heir to fulfill a dead woman's promise. Artemis, he said quietly. What happened to Admiral Vasquez? A pause. The Admiral died of her wounds 3 days after landing on this world. Her final order was for me to wait, to preserve the ship, to ensure the mission could be completed. She's been dead for 500 years. Yes, Admiral. Helen closed his eyes, feeling the weight of history pressing down on him. This wasn't his war. These weren't his enemies. But as he looked at the loyalty in the AI's voice, the dedication that had kept her waiting alone in the dark for 5 centuries, he understood something about what it meant to be human. Artemis, I'm countermanding that order. The war is over. Both sides lost and both sides won. Our mission now is to remember, to preserve what was good about both civilizations, and learn from what wasn't. Admiral, I don't understand. Helen smiled, looking at Elsa's image on the screen. We're explorers now, Artemis, not conquerors. If you're willing to serve again, we have a new mission, to study the past so we can build a better future. The AI was silent for a long moment. Then, orders received and understood, Admiral. It is good to serve alongside humanity once again. As the Prometheus rose fully from the desert sands, Helen realized that sometimes the greatest victory was knowing when not to fight at all.